Welcome back to my channel. This is Lisa Johnson. I'm a certified life coach, and I am here today to talk about starting over. Starting over. I'm going to be referring to my notes because I took out some time and I just wrote this out because I wanted to cover everything. I didn't want to miss anything because there are so many people who have to start over and they just even hate the very thought of it. They hate the word starting over. But it's all about perspective and what you need to do. So let's just talk about starting over. So the main thing, again, is changing the way you see the situation. It helps you to deal with it better. It really, really does. Now, I'm speaking from experience, so that's why I actually wrote it down, okay? So if you're going through, say, a divorce, or you have just finalized a divorce, if you lost a home, or your home is in foreclosure. I want to make this as less painful as possible. I want to just share. I just want to share, okay? So again, it's really about perspective and coming up with a plan. When you don't have a plan, it can almost seem impossible to get through. So that's why it's so important to have a plan, to write it out. You have to see it. I talk about procrastinators in a lot of my videos. When you don't write things down and are specific, and if you're even vague in writing something down, it can get you frustrated, even more frustrated that you feel like you can't do this. So write it out, be specific, exactly what you want, okay? Now, if you get off track, don't get frustrated, don't beat yourself up, just get back, refocus, deal with what you have to deal with because life still happens. Okay, but just deal with what you have to deal with, but then come back to it, okay? Because small victories, they really do turn into big wins. All right, so when you accomplish a goal, you feel the sense of, this sense of euphoria. You just feel like, whoa, like there's one thing that I can say that I've done since all this has been going on. And then that one thing leads to another, and you pick up momentum and you start to feel better, even about yourself. Alrighty. So now starting over, what does that look like for you? So we're talking about for you right now. What does starting over look like for you? You have to paint a picture of what your end result will be. What does that look like for you? You literally, if you have to go to the store and get one of those little whiteboards, draw a picture, paste the picture, write it out, whatever you need to do to be specific and clear of how you see it. I often say you have to see it before you see it. So how does that end result look for you? What is it that you want? During life coaching, that's like the number one thing we ask. What do you want? And once you're clear about that, and we help you to become clear if you don't know what you want. Some people say, I don't want to get remarried. Let's just say marriage was your thing. Some people say, I don't want to get married again. But make sure that response is not as you feeling that pain of it, but really it's like, okay, that was, thank you for that experience. But now that's not what I want any longer. So make sure that you're being true to yourself, I guess is what I'm saying. All right, so let's just say again, you lost your home, you can't afford the mortgage. Again, we're coming up with clear and clear goals. So what does that look like for you? Do you have to maybe get a renter to come in and live in your home? If that's not something that you want to do, can you refinance? Can you, you have to let it go. That could be very well an option, and then you can work on rebuilding your credit and that sort of thing. You may say, I don't want to do all that. Some things are just inevitable. Some things that you may not even have a choice in the matter, because if you don't have the money, what can you do? Okay, and don't look for, I want to say this, sometimes we go to our go-to person, so to speak, for help. Sometimes God will allow that person to say no or close that door so that you can depend clearly and completely on Him. So don't get mad at that person if they say no, they can't help you, even after you've cried and boo-hooed, okay? Alrighty, so now we're going to talk, or even I also mentioned our business folding. After you've dealt with the embarrassment and all of that, forget all of that. Life has happened to everybody. It's one way or the other, okay? So don't get caught up on people knowing that this has happened to you, no matter what it is, whether it's a divorce, whether it's a failed business, what have you, okay? Learn from it. learn from it. If something failed, learn from it. I think about Michael Jordan. He talked about when he tried out for the varsity in high school and how he wasn't picked. He was devastated. He went to his room and closed the door, cried. He didn't want anyone to hear him crying. But he used that failure to motivate him. He was like, I'm going to get on that team next time, next tryouts. And that's what happened. And look what would have happened had he had quit. Same with Abraham Lincoln, the president. The Senate, he kept running and running and running for Senate. You know, people don't talk about that. They talk about the presidency. But he kept failing. He kept losing. But he kept going. So just think, had he, not continued, he would not have been the president of the United States. And we know the contribution that he made to help. And even in my book, I talk about my book that I wrote, Anew You. Go to my website, lisajohnsonlifecoach.com. I talk about those 10 women whose back were up against the wall. I mean, life had happened to each one of them. Each one of them had different things that had happened. And they had to make a decision. They had to make a choice. And when they came to a crossroad. So read what they did. These are real lives, real people. That's why I chose them, to write about them, because they were 10 women and they found out that they were stronger than they thought they were. When your back is up against the wall, you have a choice. You can either quit or you can keep it moving and come up with come up with a plan. And this is what they did. And that's what I did. So I don't want to be a spoiled book. So, and pain. Don't sit in your pain. Pain is a time waster. Cry if you must, have your moment. But don't let your moment turn into years. That's what happened to me for so long. I sat in my pain and I looked up and so many years had passed. Years, yes, I said years. And then you get upset because you can't get that time back and you get depressed. And then now you're wasting more time because you're depressed because now you're like in bed. So none of this serves a purpose. So get out and do something. Take control of your life. Okay. So you thought this was going to kill you. It's not going to kill you. You're going to come out on the other side. I often say, you made it through. You're still here. You're listening to this video. Everybody's been through something. You may not have gone through what you're going through now, but you made it through that. So that's clear that we're going to go through things in life, as painful as they are, but we're going to make it through the other side. And so allow that healing to take place, but you got to keep moving while you're healing. Keep moving while you're healing. Remember that. Don't stop, okay? And a lot of people get caught up in the time invested. Don't get caught up in the time invested. Don't get caught up in that. That's another time waster. You can't get time back. Don't get caught up in that, okay? Gosh, what was the one more thing that I wanted to say? And have that determined and that resolve in you. Let that fighter come out in you. And just put one foot in front of the other and just keep going. If you keep going, you'll get there, okay? So get your mind right. Come up with a new vision. Sometimes we have that old vision. You may have, that old vision, thought you were going to be married. You thought that business, but now you got to come up with a new vision. You just have to. Write that vision, make it plain, write it out, post pictures, whatever you need to do, okay? Gosh, there's one last thing that I wanted to say. And don't, a lot of times we want to be in control, like control some things, what you can control, but then let God take over. So that's when we go to prayer, we talk to God and ask Him, what do we do next? What do we do next? What do we do next? Okay? It's always seeking Him for direction. And I would love to be your life coach. I want to share with you some things that, I've heard people share with me what they had to do. It's some things that I've had to do that I want to share with you. Go to lisajohnsonlifecoach.com. Shoot me an email. I'll definitely respond back to you. But starting over is all about perspective. Don't quit. Don't give up. Put one foot in front of the other. Let that scab heal. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. You got to get up and keep it moving. Go to my website again. I talk about, starting again, begin again, love again. Your life is not over. This is just a chapter. But it's not your whole story. It's not in. It is not the ending. Sometimes, believe it or not, it works out for the best. Sometimes you look at it when you're in it, but then your ending becomes better than the beginning. So again, I would love to be your life coach. Get my courses, take my courses, especially if you're there's a course on healing that I talk about. There are 4 courses: pain and the pain that people have caused, and healing, I talk about a lot of things. Take the course, and if you complete all 4 courses, you get a free one-on-one with me. Okay? So do that, take advantage of that, invest in yourself. It builds you up, it makes you stronger, but your life is not over. You have to start over sometimes, but you'll come out on the other side, and I'll talk to you later. Don't forget to subscribe, share, tell other people about this channel. There's hope and there's inspiration, there's motivation here.